crime, politics, Donald Trump, Biden, true crime family, organized crime, and corruption. We have William Steele True Crime and back with my two co-hosts. Frank Lordi's back after surgery after a few weeks of absence. Frank, welcome back. And Louie B, former New York City organized crime detective on some really gigantic cases here. So, Frankie, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Now, I had two surgeries. I had a cataract surgery and had two eyes operated on. Right now, as I'm talking to you, I've just made an appointment last week to see the eye doctor. The quickest they can get me in is August 1st. And they said, "What's your problem, Frank?" And I said, "I've got double vision when I'm laying down on a couch watching TV." They said, "Okay, we'll get you in and see how we can hook you up with a little bit of laser. Hopefully that'll clear that up." So I got that on the table, and I just got done doing my 6 weeks of exercises for my hip, which was a real workout, and that's the key is working out, I guess. And so now I'm starting to walk without the cane, and I love that. I got people opening doors for me, Bill. I go, I'm nobody. I'm just a plain guy, man, that got into politics and found out how dirty the system was, but I didn't let their dirt get on me. I threw it on them, and then they threw it back at me, and they got me. But I'm still here alive and well, saying I'd do it again, everything I went through. Because that's what right. Louie, my discipline as a kid, today it's called child abuse. So you know what I'm talking about.
You and me both.
Yeah, and I would do it again. And today, at my age, as a firefighter, as a business guy, and as a county commissioner, people that I catch in a lie, I have a real hard time with, because I live by say what you mean and mean what you say. I don't
exactly.
I don't know why people got to lie. It's a different culture we live in today. And the way Biden's taken us, he's taken us down a one-way street, and there's no way back. And we got to get out of that system and get my man Trump back in there and straighten this country out again. But I know,
totally agree.
And I can tell you, weaponization of the government that's going on, what they did to him, they did to me on a small scale, Louie. But I see that and understand that all corruption starts at the lower level, or where I was at in government as a county commissioner. Start out with a city councilman, then you go to county, then you go to state, then you go to federal. By then they know all the tricks of the trade to be corrupt. And I say this in my talk, it's all about these two things. I stopped putting this finger up last because people might have got the wrong idea about me, so I do it first. It's all about power and money. That's what the game's about, unfortunately. There ain't enough good guys to have the majority of votes to really change things. And do you know, Louie, in politics, what a rhino is?
Yep.
Okay. That's the problem that Trump had when he said he was going to drain the swamp, but some of the swamp didn't like him and didn't help his stuff get passed on the Senate. Senate. So now we didn't get the big red wave last election, but I really believe it's coming this time around because the polls are showing it. The open borders is a big issue. It's turning the Black community and Hispanic community little by little.
Absolutely correct.
More and more in a way, because they're taking them people with free rent and room and board and a cell phone and money for groceries. And they got people in their neighborhoods, mainly the Democratic red states, controlled by the liberals, and they're taking care of people that come in that shouldn't even be in our country, and they're not taking care of their own people. So I think that's part of the reason people are moving over. Yet, of course, inflation is high. People go into stores 2 or 3 times a week. Gas is going to go back up. We were oil independent under Trump. This Biden, he got rid of everything that Trump had going for him, just out of hatred, and the Green New Deal, all that BS stuff, all that money they're throwing away. It's just, I just think enough people now are fed up with the way the country's going, and I hope they vote down ballot, from the president to the U.S. senators to the congressmen to the state senators to the representatives, all the way down. And that's what they're worried about now. So he's not going to get out. I don't want him to get out. I want Biden to stay in, because it's his policies and procedures. and it puts the other office holders on the federal level, congressmen and senators, state level. They puts them all on the same platform because that's the policies and procedures that they implement and they support. Now, let me ask you another question, Louie.
Go ahead.
You know what it means to say, and I think you would, what a sanctuary city is?
Yes. New York is one of them right now.
Okay. And that means if somebody in their neighborhood commits a serious crime, they're not deporting them to ICE because they're sanctuary and they're getting paid by the federal government to have that status. So they're protecting them. How would you like to live in them neighborhoods and somebody's a rapist or a murderer and you're not going to turn them over? You're going to let them stay in that city? Does that make any sense to anybody? Not to me. What do you think, Lou?
I have thoughts here that I can't even say on this.
Well, you don't got to fear to hold anything back to me. Maybe Bill might be a little worried, but I'm not.
I don't want to have my channel shut down, but along the lines of what he said, I sent you a link earlier, Louie. I don't remember if you're on Instagram, but in this one, it's all over the news in New York. They picked up a guy for a woman, right? And he put her in trash bags in front of the apartment complex. Well, they find him, and the surveillance cameras sees that the guy in the wheelchair was dragging out this bag with the body. And so when he was up in the apartment getting arrested, I'm pretty sure it was the Bronx, maybe Queens. Of course, they had a chance to get a lynch mob together. Before the police brought him out, man, they tried to rip him out of the gurney, going to the ambulance, beating the hell out of this guy. 4 or 5 cops trying to get him safely, into the ambulance and out of the area. They arrested him. Man, this is like the street justice. This is what it's become. Every man for himself.
And it's going to get worse. See.
Yeah, you're right.
I worked as a cop. We had this magic thing that was called respect. That's a word that's been erased from most people's vocabularies.
Bill.
We had rules. The rules of the street were, fear equaled compliance. Okay,
Bill.
if you fear, what's that?
Bill, I want to tell you, I like this guy. I like the way he speaks because he's coming from his heart and he's speaking the truth, like I know you speak, and that's where I come from. So we're on the same page.
Let's get him wound up. He's on a point. He's on a point here. Good.
I love it.
Well, there were certain things that were unwritten rules. If you ran and I catch you, you're getting hit.
Good.
Okay. If you were a fighter, you went to the hospital.
Good.
You got a wooden shampoo.
Good.
And we got you what was called a Brooklyn party hat, which was a big turban because your head was full of stitches. And when you appeared in front of the judge knew that you were a fighter or whatever.
Yes.
And he just looked at you and there was nothing to say. He remanded you. There was no bail, because the police and the judges work together. Okay. I personally, once I put the cuffs on you, all beating stopped. But it's just the way it was. I would not let anybody hurt my prisoner.
Well, Louie, my advice to you is hold off on the cuffs for a while and make sure they get some equal justice. Because when they go to the courts, I don't know if you guys have no bail. I mean, no bail money you have to put up. Is that in effect there? Where you're at?
For the record, for my audience, and for YouTube and everybody, we certainly don't condone violence here. We're discussing educational and newsworthy information from a former member of law enforcement who enforced the laws in a different era where these things weren't captured on camera all the time.
This was acceptable.
It maybe wasn't legal, but was acceptable back in the 70s and 80s. And I think you were a cop in the 40s or something. No,
listen, it was a slap-a-rama extravaganza.
I like that. I like that. Say that again, Louie. What was
slap-a-rama extravaganza.
Slap-a-rama extravaganza. I love it, Bill.
Okay.
But, I never flaked anybody. I never hit anybody that didn't deserve to be spanked. Just the way it was. You know what? My claim to fame is I had the opportunity, and I don't want to say it's an opportunity. I could have shot and killed 6 people in my career, and I didn't do so. And that's a big feather in my cap. That says something about my character. It's very easy to pull a trigger.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But, Am I afraid of taking a human life? No. Would I do it if I have to? Would I do it today? In a heartbeat. You know what's sad today? Cops have to go out there and they may have to take the life of a 14, 15, 16-year-old kid that carry guns. But society is allowing this, and it's absolutely horrible. One of the shootings that I almost got into, I almost killed a 16-year-old kid. And he had a 45 and he was trying to shoot two people and they were hiding behind a car. And we rolled up on it. I was in plain clothes and I wasn't looking for it. We were going out to lunch. And this guy, this young kid, I thought he was about 12. He was actually 16. He chased two guys behind a car that wanted to beat him up. And he went upstairs. He got his uncle's 45, which was an illegal 45. And he was holding these two guys at gunpoint. If they picked their head up, he would have shot them. So I politely walked up. I took cover behind a car. I had perfect sight alignment. And I was going to shoot him right here because it would have went right through his face and took out his spine and he would have been dead on the spot. And I remember putting pressure on the trigger and he was a millisecond away from dying and he put the gun down. Mm-hmm. And the guy that I was working with ran over and grabbed him. Yeah, he got lumped up. We took the gun off him, but that's the name of the game. Yeah. And
interject one thing to you, Louie, because you hit a subject that I was going to bring up. I wouldn't have brought up unless you brought this subject up. Just, I want to say 2 weeks ago, I can't keep track of time with weeks sometimes. 2 weeks, they're chasing this young kid, 14, 15, whatever he was, and he pulls out what appeared to be a gun. It was a fake gun, I guess, but they caught up to him. So no, nothing was fired from the whatever they called that piece of equipment he was carrying. The 2 or 3 of them are pouncing on him, beating him up. This cop shot him, killed him. They had control of him, Louie. See, I could see both sides. They had him. They're beating him up. I mean, they thought they were going to be killed with a gun. Found out it wasn't a gun. Why did that cop have to kill the kid? And there were witnesses.
Did the police release their version yet? I know a case like that where they had somebody subdued and the policewoman thought she had her taser and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, I remember that story. She went to jail.
What happened? What's the police explanation for why he shot this guy? Because I saw that footage a few days ago.
Okay. But that gives the cops a bad name. And then when they get out, when these lawyers and their spokesmen, they make all policemen are that way and they're bad. And today, they're having trouble recruiting policemen, Louie. I mean, in a way, can you blame them? I mean,
no.
They call them to a domestic violence situation, and they got sniped. They had snipers picking them up, trying to pick them off while they're on a porch. What the hell is going on?
Here's my opinion. Cops are severely undertrained.
I believe
that's my opinion.
I believe that.
Okay, I've been a martial artist since I'm 11 years old.
Okay.
I never had to take out my gun. I mean, if I was going to a burglary with a man with a gun or whatever, I'm going to take out my gun, of course. But on the average thing that was going on, I was afraid of cops that pulled their gun right away because they were unsure of themselves. I want 2 hands. I had 2 hands to fight with. You know what I mean? I didn't want my gun taken from me, what have you. I was very skilled in what I could do. I was very confident in what I could do. And the average cop here, he's doing his best. His best ain't working. What happens? The level of force is going to go from 0 to deadly physical force. It shouldn't be.
Let me ask you a question, Louie.
Go ahead.
When they're giving these tests today for these police officers, is there psychological tests included in those hirings procedures?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and the psych test that I took, they're looking to trip you up. But if you knew how to take that psych test, they'd never trip you up. They'd say, do you like flowers? It's either yes or no. They didn't care if you liked them or you didn't. Then 5 questions later, they say, if you were an artist, would you paint flowers? Now, you just said you didn't like flowers, but you'll paint flowers? That's the kind of
No, that's pretty slick.
That's what they were doing, you know. But
It shows some kind of instability.
they're looking for continuity in your thought process. And
Well, how serious is on the police force today in your area?
Forget about my area. I'm in Montgomery, Alabama.
Oh, you're from? I'm talking about New York, though. I guess I'm speaking about.
Go ahead. I'll talk about New York.
How much racism is there amongst the police departments? Is it changing? It's
there. It's there. This mayor.
Oh boy.
Of New York City.
Yep.
Was and is and will always be. He's a racist. He started an organization called 1,000 Blacks in Law Enforcement. Okay. Now, why do you have to do that? Why? Okay. I worked with 1 million black guys, Chinese guys, Russian. It didn't matter. When you put that uniform on, you're all blue. If you called and you needed help, I'm coming. Okay. I'll take a bullet for you. That's the way I was. Why do we have to divide each other up?
That's a good point.
That's the same thing Obama and Biden do. They divide, and yet Biden was behind the 1994 crime bill called Black Super Predators. It called for 85% sentencing, destroyed many minority and white families along the way with his crime bill that put everybody in prison for 85% of their time. Yet for some reason, minorities still think it's okay to vote Democrat when they're the ones that even at the time of Lincoln wanted to keep blacks in chains. It was the Republican Party that freed the slaves. Why on earth they vote that party still is beyond me, and a lot of people are fleeing the party. Yeah, now, I will say this now, full disclosure, Frank, and we've said this before, honestly, on the show. Frank started off as a Democrat. Am I correct?
Correct, because my dad and my grandfather were. But go ahead.
And he ran for office for Youngstown, Ohio, Mahoning County, for county commissioner. The other party was, according to Frank, highly corrupt. A lot of issues going on. He made a major platform going after the corrupt politicians. He won. What did they do to you, Frank?
They turned in. We had we knocked out the prosecutor and the sheriff, and they're going out of office at the end of the year. We beat them in the primary with the public behind us, and they got one of the crooked judges to write us a journal entry using the word "you shall," and in law means you will, provide funds for Mahoning County Fraud Task Force. And we're providing the funds, and we know we're the targets. But it is what it is. But I'd do it again because they're corrupt, and they want to get back at us because we took away their cushy jobs and the nice salary they were making, but also the money they were getting paid, Louie, under the table. And it's just horrible. And I was naive to this. I was on a fire department. Then I got into business. I wasn't politicians. But I want to ask you a question. Did you ever work with a partner, Louie?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now watch this, Bill. I'm going to set him up, right? You worked with a partner. What would you... I want to laugh before I ask you the question, but take it serious. I mean it because today's world is different.
Okay.
What if you presented a partner to work with you that was a man dressed as a woman?
Couldn't work with him.
Good answer. I love it. You're honest. I love it. But this world today, one of the biggest things that gets me now, it's starting to change around some of the universities. How do they allow men to participate in women's sports? Give me a break. I love.
We had a little glitch, but Frank, get back to that train of thought here.
Well, yeah, I was just saying these colleges today, somebody just said, if you got a conservative resume that you put in to be a president of a university, you're not getting hired. And that's pretty much true. Now, Trump came out with two things. I think that somebody put it in his head and he came out with it. I love it. It's going to get him a lot of votes. One, he's saying, now remember now he's out in Las Vegas at the one rally. Now they have a lot of, what do you call them? People that work in that industry, in the service areas, the service companies in the hotel.
Oh, like people that work for tips and all that?
Yeah. And he said he wants to have them not have to pay taxes on the tips. That's number one. I mean, that's a good thing. The other thing, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Department of Education was never to be a part of government. The Democrats put that in, and that's why a big lobbyist group is the Department of Education around the country supports the Democratic Party. Trump wants to do the same thing. What he's doing with abortion is sending it back to the states and let the states decide what their people want. If they don't decide what they want, then them people could vote them out and put somebody else in. It takes it off. It shouldn't be on the federal government. It should be individual states. They want to go that route. God bless you, but we don't support that. But it is what it is.
In relation to that, didn't you have a question you were about to pose to Louie? Louie, what was he talking to you about?
How would I feel about working with a man that was?
Or how about vice versa, Louie? Either way.
Here's the problem. I know who I am. I know what I am. Every time we arrive on a job, what's going to happen is somebody's going to break your balls because of what and who you are, and it's going to be a problem before the problem starts.
Right off the bat, you're right.
Right, they're not going to like you, and it's going to be a problem. It's no good. I work with gay cops. Okay, I'll tell you a very funny story. There was a guy. He was a gay cop, the nicest guy you ever want to meet. He puts a call over a radio that he needs help. Now, the radio call for help, if you're in a lot of trouble, it's 1013. Everybody, cops will come out of the woodwork. He calls it 1085 forthwith, which means I'm in trouble. You guys get here forthwith. So we get there, and he's tussling with a guy on the street. And the guy punched him in his face. He's got blood coming from his nose and mouth. So what happens to the cops? You call for help. We gave this guy a tuning. You got a beating. You hit a cop, you're getting hurt. So, so the sergeant says, all right, let's clear it up. Everybody go back to patrol. I didn't want to mention the guy's name. I'll call him Johnny. Johnny, you take the collar. Lou and my partner, Jim, you transport everybody to the precinct. Everybody else resume patrol. And the gay guy goes, I can't take this arrest. So the sergeant says, what? So I can't take this arrest. I have a party to go to tonight. He says, buddy, you don't understand. You just called for help. You got your ass kicked, okay? You called your buddies in to help you. They kicked this guy's ass. You got the arrest. He goes, oh, no. You don't understand. I'll forgive him.
Oh.
True story.
I believe.
Wow. So for my audience, so then we're gonna get back real quick to Frank. So this is Frank's co-hosting with me. Louie's my co-host on Mafia Monday segment. Now Frankie was a county commissioner in Youngstown, Ohio. They set him up. They sent him to prison. This was over 20 years ago. He's been fighting all this time to clear his name. A few weeks ago, he gets completely exonerated.
God bless you.
He wrote the book, Framed Innocence, about his experience. He went through exactly what Trump's going through today.
Yeah,
the other party.
See how they can rig the game. And you know what, Louie? I was naive from the standpoint, I believe what people say. And people in politics, a lot of them have hidden agendas. And so if you don't know who they are or where they're coming from, you can get in a lot of trouble. I just think it's outrageous, but it's, it is what it is. There are good guys in there. We just need to get a majority, and I'm hoping that we get this country turned around because we're definitely going in the wrong direction. Without a doubt.
I'm down here in Montgomery, Alabama, okay? And I try to do everything within the parameters of the law because I understand how the law operates. I understand what I could do. We had this discussion yesterday. I had a problem with a homeowners association that I was a part of, and I wound up getting a court order for them to leave me alone. They violated that 102 times that I documented. Now, I documented it like I was running a criminal case. I represented myself. I took them back to court on a contempt of court order. I knew what I was doing. I could talk. I could speak. I understand the law. I can interpret it. And the judge, I needed subpoenas to prove my case. She quashed all my subpoenas.
Oh, geez.
And then they filed a motion for discovery, at which time I filed my motion for discovery, and my discovery was never granted. The day I walked into court, the judge called the defense attorney by his first name, and he reciprocated and responded by calling her by her first name. And from that point on, I knew that I was going to lose the case.
Yeah.
Now, as time went on, these people were still harassing me, and there wasn't anything I could do about it. One of the members of the board made an allegation against me that I attempted to kill him and run him over with a truck. I did not own the truck that he says I owned. It was not me. He made out a bogus police report. They did it on a computer. The two witnesses that he had, I deposed them, and I got statements from them that said the man is lying. The defense attorney put that information in court. He had to know what a police report looks like. They put it in, and the judge accepted it. This is a different judge now.
Okay.
Right? And they threw that case out. Now, there was another guy who I sued them for slander, and I didn't attempt to run anybody over. If I wanted to run him over, I would have ran him over. I had nothing to do with that. There was a co-defendant, and the co-defendant responded to my lawsuit 45 days or 43 days after the date he had to be in court. Now, that defense attorney, I filed a motion that I should win. In addition to that, I found out that the defense attorney on that case and the judge were law partners in a law firm.
Conflict.
They threw everything out on me.
That's
Conflict of interest. I filed a motion for him to recuse himself. He never did. So, you know what? I had to get out of there because I said, you know what? None of this is working. I'm working within the parameters of the law. I did everything I was supposed to do. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to smash somebody's face. Okay? And then they'll understand that I'm not playing games. This is my home. Okay?
I get it.
It's I don't bother nobody.
And again, we don't encourage violence. He's just telling his feelings.
No, but
he's venting. We certainly don't encourage violence.
No, but you try to do everything that you could do. It would cost me a lot less money. They weren't going to put me in jail if I slapped somebody.
Hey, Frank, we went into detail about yesterday, even about how these homeowners associations, many of them are running full-blown racketeering operations, and they run under the assumption that they can't be prosecuted because they think that racketeering criminal charges are designed only for Italian mafia guys. Well, guess what? There's been plenty of other types of business people that have been prosecuted under RICO, and the homeowners associations, where they extort money from people, break laws, terrorize them, have them, sign these contracts that are unfair and extortionate.
Illegal. They're illegal.
Illegal. It can be prosecuted under racketeering statute.
Wow, that's amazing. How long were you on the force, Louie?
What happened to me was I got hit by a door in the elbow. I did the largest organized crime case in the history of New York law enforcement. It was organized crime's control over the private sanitation industry. And in the middle of that case, I was moving equipment into a house, and there was a lady in front of me, and I almost ran her over. So I stopped in the doorway, and a jalousie door hit me in the elbow, took the tip of my elbow off, which eventually crushed my ulnar nerve. So I lost 30% use of my arm. So I did 13 plus years on the job. I worked in an undercover capacity, a true undercover capacity from 1990. I bought Asian heroin for 2 solid years in a role that I played. I played an organized crime guy's nephew, and that's what I used to get in to buy heroin which is the most expensive heroin in the world. It was called Asian heroin, Chino Blanco, as it's called on the street. I was paying $6,000 an ounce for it, and I was buying heroin all over New York City.
Wow.
Yeah, Louie was in some dangerous cases. We elaborate. We did a 5-part special with him that we're still putting up parts of. And now he's, like I said, co-host here at Mafia Mondays. And then the case with the sanitation, you see the documentary behind him. He's got the poster. It's called Wasteland. They did a documentary about it. And I'm trying to see if I can find the image to throw up on the screen for you. Anyway, there you go.
That's my partner, Vic.
That's Vic, his partner there. This is Louie. We have a ton of images with Louie and with you. Let me see. What else? So Louie was in Las Vegas recently conducting business, signing autographs. Trying to find that one. Is that it there?
That's I was working in anti-crime. That was a street thing that we did. Those two guys, there it is. That's Operation Wasteland. That's me on the right in the beige suit with hair. I had hair at one time.
It's funny. You got that double-breasted suit from the same place I used to buy my suits in the 80s.
All the wise guys and all the cops bought the suits from the same place called the Garage.
Right. I've been there a million times. They had great clothes that fell off a truck.
Yes, they did. And if you knew the right guy in there and you gave him a $20 tip, he made sure your bag was full.
Yeah. And then there was the old man in there sometimes that would make sure they did all your measurements for you too.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to get this image back off the screen. I think we're stuck with Vic.
So that's my partner, Victor.
There he is. Okay.
Here I am.
Louie's back.
Trying to find something else interesting here. So, Ignacio, our co-host here, retired ATF, there he goes. He's back from Europe. He's going to be doing a show with me Thursday morning, if not sooner. So welcome back, Ignacio. Mary and I are doing a segment called Wrongful Conviction Wednesdays, and we're exposing a lot of corruption coming out of Fresno County, California. And all these guys are in prison innocent, and 3 of them are out of Fresno. And Fresno twice came in the most corrupt county in the United States 2 years running, including this past year. Let me see. Season 2 of Inmate to Roommate is out. If you see this logo on your screen, that's the show that I'm in. Season 1 as Bill. In case you guys who are tuning in maybe recognize me, go to A&E. You'll find Inmate to Roommate. Check out Season 1. That's me on the show. That's the rules. Those rules are for sale now. I actually do autograph copies. People said, Bill, make some autograph copies of those. So we're selling those. I got books out. Frank's got books out.
Those rules are worse than prison rules.
Yeah. Okay, so we got big news coming up too. Let's go over this. So, a friend of mine, Ciro DiPaggio, has been making a few movies. He's got, he's pretty much doing what I do. He's doing crime. I don't think he's doing true crime necessarily, but based upon true incidents, right? He made a movie called Mob King that was out. Now he's got several more he's making right now in a row, and he put me in one of them called Silent Partners. Silent Partners premiere is at the end of August in Boca Raton, Florida. We are specially invited there, and I think you two gentlemen are going to be making it as well.
I'll be there.
I hope I can.
Okay. So what it's going to be is there's a 333-seat theater called the Wick Theater in Boca Raton, and it's going to premiere there. And then there's dinner afterwards. There's going to be red carpet, meet and greet. There's going to be a lot of mafia genre actors there that are there. Probably some, because of South Florida, there might be some real wise guys there. We don't know. But
it'd be nice. It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's going to be ultra tight security. So don't anybody bring weapons. Not you guys, but it's going to be very, very tight security because of the type of people that are going to be there. But it's a beautiful venue. I looked it up. Tom Madden from Transmedia got an office right near there. And my co-author, Gary Greenberg, he's editor and writer with the National Enquirer. He lives about a mile from there, too. So it looks like everybody's going to be in attendance. I think, Frank, we're just waiting on word from you, and I can shoot you more information about the whole venue. I think the maximum ticket for like everything, if you can't get in for free, is going to be $150, or it's like $20 to see the movie on the premiere night. I'm trying to arrange it where, because you guys are podcasters now, you're my co-host, where we all get the credentials to go in for free. I get in free because it's I'm cast. I'm on in the movie. So
Yeah.
myself and one other, my better half, we get in. But
Yeah, but me and Frankie are porn stars. We could get in. Right, Frank?
Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, it's crazy, Frank. Just before around the time you were recovering from your surgery, Louie went to Vegas. He went to a thing called the Mob Summit. He went over there autographing pictures, getting people familiar with his book that's about to be released. Revenge Served Cold, I think it's called.
Yes.
It's behind you with the brass knuckles and the thing. And so he was there like really tight on business, and he has a partner there that's really helping him a lot right here.
She is. That's my main lady. Okay. That is Henry Hill's second wife.
From Goodfellas.
She's the #1 mob character director probably in the business. She knows anybody and everybody. And another good friend of mine introduced me to her, and we hit it off, and I love this lady. I enjoy her company, and she's an absolute sweetheart. And she saw things in me that I never saw. I didn't realize that how many people would be interested in police work and organized crime work. And I tell the truth. I tell the story just the way it happened.
The good, bad, and the ugly. What's her name again? Say her name.
Lisa Caserta.
Lisa, shout out to you. You want to be on the show? You're more than welcome.
Be on the show. I'm going to have her come up here. She's a wonderful, wonderful human being. My wife loves her. I feel like I've known her about 80 years. She's part of the family, and I can't say enough nice things about her.
So Louie was there conducting a lot of business and trying to make connections, and he's really starting to tell his stories now. I don't think he's come forward, but for the last few months, I guess, and I'm blessed that he's a co-host here. He was in Vegas. Business was tough. He was very, very dedicated to being engaged with other business people and mobsters, former mobsters, and all that stuff. And so he was in office meetings all day long.
Frankie, he's trying to shake me down. Frankie, no good.
Yeah, I see how busy he was.
He's shaking me down again.
I think he checked out the Mob Museum while he was there.
And they treated me very, very well there, by the way.
Yep. I introduced him to Nick Christophers, who was actually out there with you, right?
Great guy.
Did you do his show yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
He and I grew up in and about organized crime. I'm not an organized crime guy, but I can tell somebody gave me the title organized crime affiliate. I'm an affiliate to organized crime. I know lots of people. I was running numbers when I was 5 and 6 years old for my dad's cousin.
You were a prospect. You were a prospect.
I was doing things. I don't know what I was doing. Everybody was my uncle. Yeah, this is Uncle Jim. Take it to Uncle Mike. I'll give you $5. All right, give me the bag. I run it down the block. What did I know? I didn't know nothing.
That's right.
And in fairness to Louie, his whole neighborhood was basically organized crime, and they made sure there was no crime going on within the neighborhood. Everybody looked out for each other.
They kept the neighborhood clean.
An old school Italian Sicilian way of doing things, and everybody looked out for each other. Now, the thing is, because Louie grew up around that, and he had police officers in his family, and I'll let him talk about anything else, he didn't necessarily want to be an organized crime detective. It was kind of foisted upon you. Why didn't you not want to be one? And how the heck did you come to be one?
I put in for a unit called HIDA. Okay. I had already become a detective, and they opened up this unit. It was actually the first George Bush created this federal unit, and it was divided up into traditional drug gangs, Colombians, and Asian organized crime, to wit, Asian heroin. And I had a very strong background in Asian organized crime and the gangs, and I had arrested a lot of them. I knew how to speak to them. I knew what to talk to them about. So I took the interview, and there was a lieutenant who was trying to trip me up, but I knew everything that I needed to know. And he says to me, wow, for a white guy, actually, it's lo fan. That's what they call you. Chinese call you lo fan. That means white ghost. That's like calling an Italian a guinea, calling an Irish a Mick.
Watch out. Okay.
No, I'm not saying that to anybody per se. It's their slang terminology for a white guy. It's not meant to be disrespectful to anyone because I love everybody. So he tried to trip me up, and I knew everything. The only thing I couldn't do was speak the language. So he says to me, listen, you know all about this. Would you be interested in becoming an undercover? I says, what's in it for me? He says, well, I'll make sure that you get promoted within 18 months. That's $10,000, $12,000 raise. I said, I'll do it. So I took on a role, and I was introduced to drug dealers by guys who got locked up and were facing a lot of time. So they were informants. So I wasn't a guy on the street. I went out with pinky rings, and I drove a Porsche or a Caddy. I had, nice cars, and they introduced me, and I did buys in the Grand Hyatt Hotel. I did a lot of buys. I had my own rules. I set my own rules up, and these guys fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I played the role. I played the role of a wise guy because I knew what to say, how to do it. I was very, very forceful, and these guys fell for it. But as good as I was not capable of getting to an Asian. I never infiltrated the Asian community, the Asian wise guys, because they insulated themselves predominantly with Dominicans. They were selling to the Dominicans, and the Dominicans were pumping it out on the street. Mm-hmm. Now, my story was my uncle's a wise guy. I'm the money guy. You deal with me. And I got a black guy that works for me. He's pumping out my heroin out in the Hamptons. I'm not doing nothing on the street. Somebody's got to know my guy for you to buy from them. And it's the finest heroin in the world. And here's what I'm here to do. You sell me, I take care of you. Everything's nicey nice. You screw me once, you'll never see me again. Okay, don't bring your wife, your girlfriend, your mother. I don't like women. Okay, because women will turn on you like a rabid dog. And I'm going through a divorce, and my wife turned on me like a rabid dog. You bring a woman around me, I'm gone. And I said, another thing I used to tell them, listen, when I know who you are. When I say I'm coming at 8 o'clock, I'm coming at 8 o'clock. When I say I got money, I got money. Okay, I give you 10 minutes. You're not there. You don't see me no more. That's just not the way I work. It's not the way I work. And you know what? They fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. I locked up, not me, my field team locked up these two guys. I got locked up with them. They split us up. They took them into jail, and these two guys were crying. And the field team says, what are you crying about? Says, you don't know this guy. This guy's uncle. He's a big wise guy. He's going to kill all three of us now. They believe my story so well, they thought they were going to get killed. And I got the Academy Award for that. But that's the role I did. And from there, I was doing quite well. And I had a interaction with the lieutenant, that same lieutenant, and we didn't see eye to eye. And they launched me. And what they did was they put me in a team doing Italian organized crime, where the Italians, organized crime, was controlling bakeries and telling them where they could sell Italian bread. That was an Italian bread case. I started to do real well there. Me and another guy, we opened up a bakery, and they were going to have to promote me again because I'm doing good. So they launched me into a team, which was the Bad News Bears. It was a team of detectives. They were all good guys, but we were there because we were all punished. And nobody liked each other. Nobody spoke to me for weeks when I got there. And it was just a tough place to work. And the lieutenant that oversaw the team did nothing but screw the team. And what we wound up doing was we took a bull by the horns. Actually, the terminology that my sergeant uses, we grabbed a fire-breathing dragon by the tail and spun him around. Now he's breathing fire at us, and we got to do something.
Right.
And this wound up being the largest organized crime case in the history of New York law enforcement. And we locked up altogether 32 wise guys. And the asset forfeiture on the case was $271 million.
Wow.
And in addition to that, Rudy Giuliani and the police commissioner went to Washington, D.C. and got another $54 million from Clinton and his staff. And the whole team that I was in were to be promoted, myself included, and none of us got promoted. And that's our story. That's what Operation Wasteland is all about. Sadly, today, in the team that I was in, I think we're up to six. 6 of these people have now passed on. We didn't get anything. I had left the team because I was injured, and I didn't even get a medal. I got nothing.
Wow.
So I left very distraught, and now it's my turn to laugh because now I'm telling the whole story, and they can't do anything about it. It's all public knowledge, and we're telling the truth. And
Good.
a lot of people are going to feel not too happy, including Rudy Giuliani, and I'm happy that he's in the position that he's in.
That being said, guys, we're running up against the clock here. Frankie, you have any final thing you want to contribute? We welcome you back as my co-host as you recover. Come on here once or twice a week, whatever your schedule permits. Louie and I are going to be doing Mafia Mondays. What do you want to say?
I'm starting to walk without my cane, and the doctor said the more you walk, the better. I'm going up steps one at a time. Left, right, left, right. How I remember is up for heaven, you go right. Down for hell, you go left. So that's keep me functioning, but I'm kind of laughing about it. But it's something. I'm glad I went through it. I had a great doctor, great staff. They treated me well. My brother treated me like a king, and I'm just blessed. I really am, and I see things opening up for you and for Louie.
I'm trying.
For our other guy,
and for you, I envision the four of us and Ignacio, our other co-host, all meeting in Boca Raton, doing this event, right? I really appreciate you guys' support. It's the first movie I've been in, and not only just to support me, but just because this is the genre we're all kind of in, this crime genre, and these are good people to meet, good networking opportunity. But I'm also thinking, you get your book out, Louie, and get a whole bunch of get maybe 50 or 100 copies down there ahead of you, and you too, Frank, bring some books down there.
Best.
And what we do, this is not a venue promoting us necessarily, but I'll introduce everybody. When I know which one of you guys are going, I will create something and send it to everybody on cast and crew so they'll know exactly who we are. Most of them know me, but you guys are new to the team. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking we have a trunk full of books, your books, my books, old school. Somebody wants an autograph, books, pictures, whatever. Hey, this is a venue for silent partners, but I have some in the car. Just be respectful of the event.
Yes, yes.
While we're there, there's nothing preventing us from booking another venue at a bookstore or somebody and having the four of us from Steel Spotlight Television, William Steel True Crime, Inmate to Roommate, and all the things you guys do, all together, taking pictures and signing autographs. We could do our own events down there while we're down there.
Yeah, that
would be great.
Yeah. Well, I need to know who's coming. Try to let us know in the next few days or week or so, Frankie.
I'm coming.
Yeah, I want to come, but I may need some assistance, so I'll see how that's going to work out.
Well, I'll tell you
Frank,
what.
If it makes you feel any better, I'm going up to New York this weekend. When I fly on a plane or I have to sit a long time, I always have my cane.
Really?
All the time. Yeah. And what that does, when I get on the plane, the TSA, I go right through the line.
They let you. They give you some.
Yeah.
You know what else? I've got a bad ankle. I went with my cane last time. And you know what else that does? Those guys running around with wheelchairs to take you from concourse to concourse or whatever.
What do you want to do?
They come pull up next to you, say, "Hey, sir, would you like a?"
Yes, absolutely.
Wheelchairs.
I get the fat man with the cart. Beep beep. Yo, over here.
Yeah, I've done that, but I really have a bad ankle. If I'm on it too long, it'll get pretty bad. Guys, we got to wrap it up. If we want to put some trailers.
Frank, God bless. Very, very nice to meet you, my friend.
God bless. Nice to meet you too.
I like your haircut too.
You're good. You're my kind of guy. I like a guy that tells it like it is.
I'm just a regular guy.
You guys have the same haircut. I still haven't given up on mine coming back.
All right, we're going to sign off.
Bye,
God
everybody.
bless, fellas. Thank you so much.
Great
All right.
seeing you guys. God bless.
Stay healthy. Bye-bye.